What's up, y'all? I'm just making a quicker video than this is my second take on taking this video. I took it once before and I kept this bullshit that I use as a camera stand doesn't really work that well, and it kept falling, so I had to fix it, and I didn't really like it, so I deleted it. I'm refilming this for the second time. All I'm doing in this video is comparing thickness and why it's a better idea to carry an armor versus a regular Zippo, unless you're going to be doing tricks. But there are still benefits to using this for tricks than this. Now, the first benefit on using this for tricks versus a regular Zippo is that for some Zippo tricks, you light the lighter and then you toss it up in the air. Now, if you're outside at a party or something, or at a bar, there's some places in Boone where there's, outside places at restaurants that have concrete floors and shit, and if you're throwing this up in the air, above your head or level with your head, and you don't catch it, it'd probably be embarrassing. But if you don't catch it and it hits the ground, this one will be less dented than a normal Zippo. Now, if you drop it from 6 feet high or however tall you are, and it hits like that, it would probably, for a regular, it would probably be a little bit worse of a dent. And one thing that I can testify to this is back when I got my brass armor Zippo, I was riding my bike around. This was before I got a car. I was riding my bike, I think it was to the local grocery store where I normally live during the school year, and sure enough, it falls out riding down the road at about 20 miles an hour on a bike and hits the pavement, and I'm like, oh shit, the thing's gonna be broken, it's gonna be messed up. And as a matter of fact, it not only landed right here, which was putting a lot of pressure on the hinge on my brass armor, but all it did was put a little nick in the lid. That's all it did. Now, if it was a regular, it probably would have put a decent sized dent in it, like my cousin's black matte Zippo that he has. He dropped that once doing God only knows what, and he put a big dent in the this corner of it, and his is a regular. It's not an armor. Now, another nice thing about the armors is that they just feel, whenever you hold one in your hand, it just feels a little bit more solid, especially the lids in the case of the Zippo. Like if you take this, pull the insert, and if you squeeze this, if you start squeezing this, as you'll see, it can bend. If it will focus, it can kind of bend and bow in a little bit, especially with the case part. It will bend in like that, as you can see I'm doing. Now, it's not bad to do that. If you start pushing really hard on it, I would advise you not to, but it just, it bends in just a little bit and springs back, which honestly isn't that big of a deal. But for me, I tend to like one that doesn't quite do that. It's more like an armor. It's more firm. Like, you can sit here and you can try to bend this armor in, and you're most likely not going to be, unless you're extremely strong or muscular, you're not going to be able to bend that in. I mean, if this shithole camera will focus, you'll be able to see what I'm attempting to make a point at. Yeah, this isn't really working that well. Sorry guys, with the focus. The focus really sucks on this iPhone that I'm using, but if you look, even though it's foggy, I'm sorry, but if you squeeze it, it doesn't really, there, that's a little better, it doesn't really move. It stays just about the same. If it will focus, and nope, won't focus at all. But anyway, you get the idea. This will not, even when you pull the insert, it will not, it won't really bend, which I was amazed when I pulled this out and tried squeezing on this. I thought it'd move a little bit, but surprisingly enough, it does not. I mean, you can see it move just a tiny bit, and actually it's focused now, so I'll show you. It really doesn't move at all, even without an insert in there. And regular Zippos like this move. They, when you squeeze it, again, it bends a little bit. Now, this is probably a poor example because there's bad lighting here, but I was just making a point that these are tougher, and if you're going to use an EDC and you're going to be working on a construction job or a paving company or something, or tree business, this is a much better Zippo to have. Even if you're doing tricks outside on like pavement, this would be a much better Zippo to have and use than a regular Zippo. Now, second part of this video, which it's going a lot faster than the first one, which is good. I was gonna give you an example on what to expect within a year of using a high polished brass Zippo, or chrome, not brass. Keep thinking about my lost brass armor. But anyway, now if you're the type of person who scratches, you are paranoid about getting scratches, which I'm not. I'm just paranoid about getting big ass dents in my lighters, especially when they're brand new, because it doesn't look good. If it's well used and it gets a dent in it, I don't care. But when it's brand new like this one, I really don't want a big dent in it because it looks odd and stands out on the lighter. Now I'm going to move these over here. I'm going to let y'all look at the difference. Now this is just 2 days of use. As you can see, there's already little scratches here and there and everywhere on it. And on this one, this is using it about a year. And as you can see, it's weathered rather nicely. I mean, I prefer this look than this of a brand new. I like the slightly dimmer, more used. It looks old. That's what I like about it. It looks like it has character. It looks older. It looks more used, and like it tells a story about the lighter. Now this one is again, I've only had it about 2 days, and one thing that you can notice on any Zippo lighter is on the dome part of the cap is that you will get little scuffs and scratches. You really can't see them on this one that much, but on this one, if you look right there, kind of right there where my finger is, you can see where there's a little white dot on the top, and that's what I'm talking about with little nicks. It's just coins in your pocket, anything that's constantly knocking on the top of the lighter will put little dings and dents, or not really dents, just nicks in the chrome finish, because it doesn't take the chrome off, it just puts dings in there. And it's at first it looks a little odd because everything's really nice mirror, and then there's just those little annoying nicks in there. But once it looks like this, you're not going to give a damn about it because it's just been used to the point where it doesn't matter anymore. But now, throughout the year of me using using this Zippo, which is not an armor, and now I just recently bought my high polish armor, or it was given to me rather. I've only carried in the same pocket with it random amount of cash, $2 or $3 worth of change. And this isn't $2 or $3 worth, but this is just an example of what I will carry in my pocket, in my left pocket. Now when I occasionally smoke, which I'm not promoting smoking, it's a bad habit to get into, but I do occasionally smoke every once in a while. If someone gives me a cigarette or has a pack of cigarettes they don't want in my group of friends, they just say, "Oh, give Tristan those. He'll deal with them," and I do. And so basically, whenever I do rarely light up, I use my left hand because I'm left-handed, and it's more convenient for me than using my right hand. I have a tendency of dropping things with my right hand, so I'm not that good at using my right hand for anything except potentially writing my name. But with this lighter, again, it's always been in my left pocket. Now in my right pocket, I have my car keys, because in a 65 Chrysler, the ignition switch is on the right side of the steering and steering column and everything. So I keep generally that in there, and my phone in my right hand side pocket, and occasionally I'll put a pocket knife in my left hand pocket. So the only thing that would really be ever scratching against this that could potentially be a problem would be a pocket knife, but they're always closed. I never put God forbid you put an open blade in your pocket. That would not be very wise, but I'm sure it's been done and quickly corrected. But I'm just saying that's generally what I've carried, and just carrying that over about not a full year, more like 9 months, is already giving it this used, where you can see where there's a little bit of the brass showing on there already, just giving it this used look, and I like that. Now, Zippo Fanatic 77 is a very educational Zippo video YouTuber. He makes very good Zippo videos on which Zippos you should be collecting, which ones you can collect if you want to, and also how to date Canadian Zippos, which I thought was really interesting to watch that video. But he goes into how to, in some of his videos, how to polish one of these, even if it has a bunch of nicks like this one, and get it looking more like this. It's never going to be perfect like this again without any scratches in it, but it doesn't bother me. For some people it bothers them. If it bothers you, I'd advise you get a high polished brass, and then you can get a buffing wheel with cloth on a little buffing wheel, and you can put a little bit of a barkeeper's friend with a little water on there and just buff it right up and make it, get rid of the surface scratches and everything, and you'll be good to go. Me, however, I really don't want to have to deal with all that maintenance, so I tend to use these high polished chromes because you don't really have to worry about them until the finish starts to actually wear off, which it will eventually. If you use either of these for 10 years constantly in your pocket with even change, there's going to be some spots on here where there's going to start to be some brass showing. It's just going to happen unless you polish it like once or twice a month. That's just how it is. Now, that's about it. That about does it for me. That's about all I had to, jabber on about tonight. I just wanted to make a quick video on why this would be potentially a better user depending on what climate you're in, what conditions you work in, and so why this would be a better user for you versus a regular. Now, I'm not saying you have to use one of these. I'm just saying for several reasons why this would probably most likely be a better idea to use than one of these, even though a normal classic Zippo is great, and they both come with the Zippo lifetime warranty. It works or we fix it free, so really, does it really matter? Well, if you don't want to be out of a Zippo for 2 or 3 weeks while it's getting fixed, then I'd suggest you stick with an Armor as a user. Now, that's all I got to say for this video, and I'll talk to y'all later.